You are finally here.
Indeed.
I learned of your coming last time I was in Kinshasa.
Okay.
I met with the regional representative.
Chiambakoli.
Yes.
Of Nigeria now.
Yes.
Yes. I was with him in Ethiopia before coming here.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he told me you would be coming. I promised I would be receiving you.
Thank you.
But time sometimes is really in short supply. But I'm delighted you are finally here, and you are most welcome.
Thank you, Excellency.
Good.
Thank you.
As your colleague has been acting for how long have you been acting?
It's for about 2 years.
Really?
Yes.
It's been quite a while, and it took. UNIDO was going through a restructuring program,
right?
So it took quite a while to fill some of the vacant positions. And now we have everything is fully on board. Yes, we're fully on board. So I'm glad to be here.
Oh, great.
And, I know you have a very busy schedule, and really grateful that you made time within your busy schedule. Yes,
we are delighted
to receive
you and welcome you to Tanzania.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you are finding your way, finding on the ground.
With their help, I will.
Yes.
With their help, I will.
That's very good.
Thank you.
And my team is here to support you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Yes.
The normal procedures that I have to receive the credentials.
Exactly.
And then from there we'll continue talking other things, business related.
Okay.
And my time is, as you say, kind of tied up, but we may have 10-15 minutes.
Please, sir. Excellent.
Sure.
I'll bring a greeting from our Director General. Legion.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How is the Director General in Vienna?
He's doing fine. He's quite busy. He's preparing now, probably, as you know, for the Industrial Development Board meeting. It's going to be around the 29th of this month.
Oh, this month?
Yes, of June. So he's preparing for that. But he's doing well, and the team also in Vienna is doing very well.
For how long has he been in that position now?
He's due for renewal.
Yeah, he's due
he's due for renewal.
He has finished
his first 4 years.
His first 4 years.
Exactly, so he's due for renewal, and that's part of what this board is going to consider, to probably recommend him for renewal to the assembly.
I hope he is going to. He has done reasonably well.
Thank you.
Did he visit our part of the world during the first tenure?
He visited East Africa, mostly in Ethiopia, because as you probably know, Ethiopia was one of the pilot countries for his new initiative for the program for country partnership.
Yeah.
Where the mandate that was given to UNIDO by member states in Lima 2013 for inclusive and sustainable industrial development, Ethiopia was one of the pilot countries, as well as Senegal. Yeah. Now Peru has been added. So we are hoping that based on the considerations of his office and of course your kind office here, that maybe Tanzania could become a candidate country for piloting the approach.
This would be a very good timing and strategically good for UNIDO and for us as well. As you probably know through your briefings, this fifth phase government is putting particular emphasis on industrial development as part of our longer-term strategy of reaching middle income status by 2025. But the kind of industrialization mainly based on manufacturing, from agro-processing industries to basic import substitution industries is going to be given extra priority. And not only would we want to be part of the grand scheme of UNIDO, but we would want to have an ongoing bilateral dialogue.
Okay.
Maybe beginning with a visit of the Director General at some point.
Okay.
In fact, I was seriously considering inviting him.
Okay.
There's going to be a symposium later in the year,
Okay.
organized by some business community in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
And I thought that would be an excellent opportunity for him to visit, maybe even invite him as a keynote speaker or one of the speakers to that symposium to support the investment initiatives from outside, but also to encourage the government and to look for opportunities of partnership between foreign investors, domestic investors, and to be exposed to the overall industrial strategy that Tanzania is aspiring to. It's still in a very preliminary stage,
Okay.
but like many visits, it's not just enough to come and say hello, which is fine, get to know, but if he is coming specifically to a particular event, yes, that will be even more significant.
Indeed.
But you and I will be talking about
Indeed.
it, and my assistant will be reminding you. I really thought of that. I know he's Chinese, isn't it?
He is. He is. I can assure you, Your Excellency, he will be delighted to receive an invitation from
and
you.
we have
Be
a special
delighted.
relationship historically with the Chinese.
Yes.
But also, as you probably know, the Chinese presence here is very significant.
Yes, it is.
Not only because of the historical relation, but I think it's a conscious strategy, foreign policy and investment strategy by China to transfer some of the industries from China to developing countries.
Yes, correct.
And they're already doing in respect to Tanzania. But the opportunities are enormous. I mean, we are just beginning.
Indeed.
So while he's here, as we discuss in a broader context, there could be, the bilateral context. He is an international civil servant,
Indeed.
but still he's a national of a country that is very close to us.
Okay.
So we might use that opportunity to strengthen that kind of relationship.
Okay. I will certainly convey your wishes to him, and of course, mentioning that you would certainly would eventually follow that with the formal invitation to him.
Yes.
And I can assure you that even for us, UNIDO would be very happy to support you in the preparations even of the event. Before I came here, we did a similar event in Ethiopia. Ethiopia was focusing on as you probably know, on the establishment of industrial parks, agro-industrial parks.
Yes.
And we organized a huge international event with government that had over almost close to 2,000 participants.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's
so
many.
we will certainly be pleased to support the government, support you, support the ministry in this organization, along with other partners. So on top of the fact that yes, you'll be inviting our DG to even make a keynote. I'm sure he'll be delighted. So we look forward to that. And you probably also know, Your Excellency, that based on the request of your good self, and of course the government, UNIDO is almost now in the stage of completing the country program for Tanzania.
Yeah, I'd like to have an idea of that. How does, because you had the development framework that expired last year.
Exactly.
And now we are heading towards a new one.
A new phase starting this year
Until
until 2021 years.
Right.
We received very good comments from the Ministry of Industry that coordinated input from various institutions. We have now sent back these comments to Vienna, and the components will be mainly 5 key components based on the consultations made here in country. We sent a team last year that was here and did extensive consultations with different government institutions, with different partners. And the 5 components will be largely on industrial policy and statistics. That's one area that we are already working on, but we think that based on the needs of the government, that's an important area to continue to emphasize.
Right.
Of course, as you rightly mentioned, agro-industries is another area that we will focus on. We have a history of supporting the cashew nut, cashew nut, and as well as oil seeds in Dodoma. in Dodoma, for example, but also non-agro industries. For example, we noticed that the cement industry is developing very fast, and it's important that the relevant safeguards for sustainability, for environmental cleanliness, environmental sustainability are already in place. So we would perhaps be looking at that. There's also a component on capacity building for selected institutions. There's a component on energy and
Which
environment.
Institutions? The capacity building.
This will be determined, of course, jointly with
But it's capacity building.
That's an element focusing on the key institutions that are going to deliver on the program.
What form will it take, capacity building?
It will be defined more clearly, the form of the capacity building. But for now, in terms of the industrial policy, for instance, we have a partnership with the Ministry of Industry where an industrial intelligence unit is anchored within the ministry that is responsible for collating and collecting industrial-related data and producing reports to inform the government about the competitiveness of Tanzania's industry. I think there have already been at least 2 reports in that regard. They were also responsible for conducting the industrial census of industries in Tanzania. And so this level of work that's attracting brains from the university and keeping them within the ministry is one element of capacity building.
Good.
Of course, it could also mean that experts could be exposed to other areas of study. We have, for instance, in the leather industry, for example, we have sent, what's it, the director of?
It's one of the tutors at the Islam Institute of Technology.
Yes, one of the tutors was sent to Turkey to expose him to more advanced technologies to transfer to students in his university. So it will take different forms, Your Excellency.
Sure.
That's
what I'm particularly interested in is the training aspect.
Okay.
Like the one sending these people to Turkey.
Okay.
But also, I don't know if you can facilitate the support to technical schools in the country. We have the so-called betters.
Okay.
I don't expect you to open schools as such, but there is a way of supporting them and supporting the Ministry for Education in the area of capacity building related to the industrial development in the country.
Okay.
Well, probably in this framework there are some details, but if you can consider that will be one of the ongoing engagement and undertaking in the capacity building, training of skills, provision of skills. I don't know, study tours, various experiences in various industries, but whatever it is, just...
No, I take full note of that, Your Excellency, and it will not be outside UNIDO's remit. It's certainly within UNIDO's remit.
Definitely, I know it will be definitely within.
It is entirely. You might be interested to know in Ethiopia we had maybe something similar, if I understand you very well, a training program linked to VET, but specifically to train young people on heavy industries, on the management of industrial machinery, on the repair of industrial machinery.
Very important. Yes.
Even to the extent of training truck drivers.
You need to train truck drivers.
Exactly, because
so
the
that
industry,
they know what pedal to push.
The industry is short on these kinds of expertise. On specifically to what the industry needs. So similar things based on the needs of Tanzania can be designed. We have support from the government of Sweden. So certainly this is something we can look at. Study tours, yes, we could be done based on the program of industrialization that we have, for instance, linked to the industrial parks. We could do study tours to neighboring countries, Ethiopia, or maybe to other leaders in this area, Malaysia, Thailand, for example.
That is exactly what I want to see.
We take full note of that.
Also, we have a conscious, deliberate policy of rural electrification.
Okay.
And bringing electricity to the rural areas can create a lot of opportunities. From pumping water, from small-scale industries. Now, you may bring electricity, but you don't have electricians. But this is just an example. That kind of training that is related to industry, we are going to provide basic infrastructure requirements, apart from roads and this, but also electricity, which we think energy is an important part of industrialization. But it demands, it requires very specific, it is a very skill intensive thing. And what you are saying, whether you are training truck drivers or you're training technicians or you're training repairmen, handymen and all this, you may find you have something beautiful on paper, but you do not have the technical know-how. And it's no secret, but everybody knows, in this country, we have had a rather lopsided educational system where everybody is going for academic degrees and qualifications. In fact, we made the mistake of converting even some of the technical schools into degree-giving institutions. You don't have welders, you don't have plumbers, you don't have, and with industrialization, without that cadre of trainees and capacity, you may not really get the machines working.
Yes, spot on, actually. Spot on, that's exactly.
That is the area.
Yes, spot on.
And alongside with that, maybe in that framework, you would also include, I think you have included, the training for entrepreneurship. Particularly to women. Entrepreneurship, which is broad. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to actual industrial production, but it could be to marketing, it could be to promotion, it could be to income generation. Entrepreneurship in its broader way. I mean, there are a lot of credit-giving facilities that are popping up. You will hear of SACCOs, you will hear of Bicobas, you will hear of this, you will hear of that. But that is for generating capital. But once, whether it is women or young people have the capital, they needed to have even the basic exposure to become an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Yeah. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur, like not everybody can become a priest. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, there are ABCs of what you need to be trained. And particularly the youth employment. I'm very excited by the youth employment component of the previous strategy. I hope this will...
The new one also has that.
In the new one.
Yes, youth and women's employment.
This is really a major challenge, as you probably know. Whether it is Sierra Leone or whether it's Ethiopia, whether it is Tanzania, the youth bulge is a major.
It's real.
And these young people need to be given skills where they can employ themselves, rather than just depending on to be employed by companies or the government. But the empowerment of the young people into areas of opportunities where they can employ themselves. I hope these are areas that you are the experts.
We have taken note, Your Excellency, be assured, and we would look back again. In fact, we would take another look at the document, and if there are any points that we are missing, we'll definitely be very delighted to reflect this in the cooperation document. We have listened very well, and we are delighted that you are even so committed and ahead of the process, and would like to accompany you right through, as your trusted agency. Tanzania had been member of UNIDO since 1985, so we have a long history, and certainly we're very pleased to continue on that path, and we follow also the development. Even your meeting yesterday, this morning, I was reading the papers, and I saw the heavy emphasis even at regional commissioner level to kickstart on industrialization. So we are following very closely on the developments, and we are certainly very prepared. We have a larger team here, but of course a much larger team in Vienna that would be very happy to support us on the request of government.
Sometimes I've heard of the possibilities of a little bit of more decentralization from the Vienna office.
Yes.
Bring some of the people to the ground, to become much more hands-on and to work with the clients on the ground, whether it is government, whether it's private sector, or just individuals. We really need to reach out to the ground, be country specific.
Okay.
It's always good to have beautiful seminars in Vienna or whatever, the symposium. We are represented from Geneva, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's far. But some of the people, I know your team is good enough, but if they can strengthen your team, so you have more hands-on people.
Okay.
To be in touch with the relevant institutions here in this new initiative, that would really help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A measure of course, it depends on your own management programs, but a measure of decentralization would be extremely.
We take full note of that, and that's partly what the Director General is already working on. You may be aware, Your Excellency, that this is a call not only from Tanzania, it's a call from a number of member states.
True.
You know, to beef up the UNIDO's presence in the field.
Yes.
And I think from what I know, the Director General has been working on this very strongly, and this is also his commitment that the field offices of UNIDO have to be strengthened much more for us to respond in a timely manner, but also in a capable manner to the demands or to the needs of our member states.
We need that.
And I hear you very well. We will take note of that also. We would simply we'll report that also to the Director General, so he knows that this call, is being repeated, through the government that we are interacting with. Thank you.
But also, let me take this opportunity really to thank UNIDO for all what you have delivered.
Thank you.
Since 1985 to Tanzania, and I was very impressed by the mini hydro projects.
Okay.
The few kilowatts, but they make a lot of difference, and that is part of the rural electrification I was telling you about. The bringing electricity to the rural areas. If you look at from the national grid, it will take ages and it's expensive.
Indeed.
But if you have mini hydro, whether it is renewable or non-renewable energy, it eventually encourage, the national grid to come.
Correct.
But as a transition, it will still enable transformation of the rural areas through this hydro. The power sector is absolutely essential for industrialization.
Indeed.
And if you wait for the national grid to arrive, it will arrive because it's a national policy, but it is expensive and time consuming. But if you can go ahead and start with these mini power projects as you've been doing, that would really be great. And you've already been doing it. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Excellency. Yes. I have good news for you also, but maybe that one is going to come by way of invitation. You may be interested to know that one of the centers of excellence in the university here, the College of Engineering, through our capacity building project, they are now producing turbines for hydropower.
Really?
Yes, and sometime they are working with my team and the Vice President's office to get a date, because I told them, look, you really have to announce this, let people know you have this capacity to do it now here. So if you have time, Your Excellency, we would be very happy that you are invited to this kind of commissioning seminar.
Sure.
Yes, it will be here.
I will find time.
I'm sure this will be the kind of thing you are looking for.
Just let me know. Let me know. And we can also organize and find time. These are the kind of things really I would like to see.
Yes.
Whether it's here in Dar es Salaam or outside, or Dodoma, where it's going to be our new capital.
Oh, yeah.
And other regional areas. I'm glad you followed the discussion with the regional commissioners yesterday. And reach out. We hope UNIDO and the rest of the UN family will continue to plan for a move to Dodoma.
Certainly.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. And that has to be reaching out to provide opportunities out there.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole idea of moving our capital to Dodoma is part of the grand decentralization scheme to bring development closer to the people from the center of the country. And we hope UNIDO will be upfront.
Certainly,
Yeah,
certainly,
yes.
we are part of it.
Good,
We are part
good.
of it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
You're welcome.
Yes, and
I'm delighted
thank you.
to see you.
It's been a great pleasure, and I really appreciate the time you have devoted to us, despite your very tight schedule. And this really means a lot, and we count it as a vote of confidence on our partnership, between UNIDO and the government. Thank you.
Delighted
Okay.
to receive you, to know you.
Okay, so thank you very much.